Today, I would like to share with you an interesting topic about property and money. Why we need to save money and property as much as possible, as soon as possible. This is my reason why we need to save money and property. You know, we couldn't work during our life. Basically, when we are more than 60 years old, we need to take rest. We need to retire. And at the time, we couldn't earn money. So if you save money, if you save property when you are young, when you become old and older, you have money, you have property, and then their life is much easily and your life is much more comfortable. Secondly, when you have money, you feel more self-confident about your life in the future. Let's imagine after you retire, you have some property, you have a bank account, and then you can use this property, you can use this money when you need. Honestly, you feel self-confident, you feel very self-confident about your situation in the future. For example, when you retire, you have some billion window in the bank, you have a house, you have a car, you have some uh, slot of land, for example. Honestly, you feel very confident about the happiness in the future because you don't worry much about money. Secondly, if you save property and money right now, in the future, maybe you can reduce the burden for your children. You know, when you have money, you have saving and property. When you have problem with your health, for example, you can spend this money, this property to pay for yourself. You don't need any help, any support from your children. To be honest, it's very good for you and for your children. And next reason why I say with you, we need to save property and money as much as you can. Nowadays, we couldn't guess what will happen in the future. Today, you have a good job, you have a good income. So, what will happen tomorrow, the day after tomorrow? Are you sure you can get much more money like before? You can have a stable job, you have stable income. Honestly, we couldn't guess what will happen in the future. So if you have chance to save money and save property, you should do as soon as possible. You know, when we have income, when we have a good income, we need to think about the time we don't have income. Let's think about when we don't have a job. This is the reason why we need to save money as soon as possible, as well as possible. More importantly, when you save property and money, you feel the life more, more, more self-confident. You can see your life is better in the future, and especially you can see the better future for the soul, for the children, although what happened by chance. This is some reason I would like to discuss with you. Honestly, it's not easy for us to save and buy property. You know, nowadays, when we work as an employee, we have a lot of things we need to spend money, to be honest. For example, we need to support our children to study. We have to pay tuition free. We have to pay food. We have to pay a lot of bill for the basic demand for our family, right? So although we have a lot of expenses we need to have, so we need to try to save the money, try to save property, especially when we are young, because when we are young we couldn't save the money and couldn't save property. When we are older and older we couldn't do, and then we become the burden, we become the burden for our children, for our society. Yes. So if we are normal people, we need to think carefully about this situation in the future. And that is the reason why I would like to share with you this topic today. And thank you for listening to my story. Goodbye.